Welcome in or welcome back. We are here for, I believe, episode 4 of The Mandalorian, a review of the episode which was titled Sanctuary. There's 7, I think, things that I want to talk about. Sanctuary is the name of a William Faulkner novel. Short story? Novel. The name of a William Faulkner novel. That Sanctuary. Anyway, the first thing that I want to talk about is a little thing that would be easy to miss. In fact, I think was nearly missed by me. Someone who is trying to watch these things as closely as possible. So with just a cursory viewing, it would almost definitely be missed. The Mandalorian's goal here was to find some backwards little town in which to take shelter, to take sanctuary. And he found that place so small that when he walks in, he notices Cara Dune, who is clearly out of place, and she notices him. But that's not the small thing. That's not the little detail that would be easy to miss. The easy detail to miss is that when he is talking to the waitress, he says something along the lines of, "How long has she been here?" She says, "I don't know, not too long." And he tosses credits on the table. He's trying to bribe her into giving him all of the information that she knows. This is such a small town, such a backwards place, that she doesn't understand it and thinks she's just getting a good tip. That is a very small detail that would be easy to miss, I think, especially because of how well it was played off by the actress that was the waitress. And obviously everything is undersold from the Mandalorian's point of view. 1 second here. I realized something as I was talking. So another thing there that is very understated in this episode is that, well, first off, I learned the name of Julia Jones for scientific reasons. And she is the farmer lady that knows how to shoot, and doesn't just know how to pull a trigger, is really good with a gun. There is a story there. She is a farmer, not a hunter. So she doesn't just know how to use a gun because, well, maybe you gotta hunt an animal once in a while to stay alive. She is not from this planet, or maybe hasn't always been there. So I am imagining that at some point this story is going to come back around, especially if you there's spoilers here, by the way. I know it's weird for me to have to say that because I come from a world where a review means definitely you're going to be talking about spoilers, but I guess on the movie and TV side of things, it's not quite as explicit or implicit that spoilers will be tossed around. So not only does she know how to shoot a gun, Cara Dune refers to her as a widow, sort of inferring that there is knowledge that once upon a time she was married, not just that she had a child. So there was a relationship there, lost the husband. So there's more story there, but also the fact that at the end, when Mando is taking Baby Yoda and they're leaving, the only child who they really show waving bye to Baby Yoda, despite the fact that every child there played with Baby Yoda was the best friend of every child there. The only child that is really shown, there's one in the background that's waving, but the only one that is really shown waving is Julia Jones' character's daughter. So I am imagining that we're going to come back to this at some point. This is not going to be a fling of the week type thing. So there is that as well. The next thing I want to talk about is during the, was it AT-AT or AT-ST? I know AT-ATs are a thing, but I thought they said AT-STs. During that scene, there was a real sense of dread. Not coincidentally, this episode was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. What is Bryce Dallas Howard's biggest role, arguably to date? but in a movie that temporarily held the title of the highest grossing movie ever, Jurassic Park, did that scene or did that scene not feel like a scene with a Tyrannosaurus Rex coming through the forest? Must drive faster, must drive faster. That scene had a real feel of dread, and it was impressively not a Hall of Fame level scene for sure, but there was definitely elements of dread there that were above and beyond what one might come to expect from the execution that one might come to expect from a television level show. Even though this is, again, this has a budget probably on par with Game of Thrones. I have seen a couple episodes of Game of Thrones, very well directed, very well produced, very well acted, but there were definitely moments that were wanting. This scene with the ATST and the re-invasion from the dog-faced troopers, the dog-faced pony soldiers, this scene with the re-invasion from said dog-faced pony soldiers had some real elements of dread, including, but not limited to, the scenes cutting away to the children who were stowed away, and we weren't sure what building in which those children were staying. So when that ATST sent that first pew-pew straight into building and it exploded, surely I wasn't the only one who felt a little bit of dread there. I will say that for this scene and this episode to have held more weight in the canon, this feels very passing through, for this episode to have held more weight in the canon, which I believe is going to be The Mandalorian, so long as certain characters don't get their fingers in the pie here at Disney/Lucasfilms, there should have been more casualties on the good guys' side. I know that seems callous to say, but this episode felt very... there was dread, but there was no danger, it felt like. So if a couple more of the good guys were to have bit the dust... Another one, Bites the Dust, was written as a cowboy song by John Deacon and Queen, and when he presented it to the group, everyone laughed at him. Joke's on you, Freddie. But yeah, this is a basically space western deal, so I'm going to go ahead and throw in the Another One Bites the Dust reference. If more members of the farming community, I'm not sure, the farming commune, were to have bit the dust, things would have held a little more weight. There was a quote that really stuck out from Mando, and I think the quote will end up telling more about the series than it seemed to really do in the moment. When he is getting ready to leave Baby Yoda in the farming commune, this episode really made me want lo mein and shrimp. I don't know why. When he was getting ready to leave Baby Yoda in the farming commune, he says to the one and only Julia Jones, when she tells him, was it to him? Was it to her? Or was it to Gina Carano? I can't remember now off the top of my head, but the quote is said when of Baby Yoda, either Julia Jones or Gina Carano, Cara Dune, says he'll miss you. Mando says he'll get over it. We all do. Now, that seems very Mando-like, but I think it's telling us a good deal more than we care to really linger on in the episode because so much else is going on. He'll get over it. We all do. We all do. The we all do is that all foundlings get over losing their parents. But when he says we, he is not just stating foundlings. I think he's stating Mandalorians. The Mandalorians, comprised largely of foundlings, all get over losing their parents. So I think what's going on there is it's going to be able to be looked back at as a quote that is more substantial and more telling. Sorry, I've got the sniffles. I've been walking after work every day, and it was like 39 degrees while I was on my walk, and I forgot to take a jacket because I'm an idiot. So he is. Can you picture Baby Yoda in one of those helmets, one of those Mandalorian helmets? Maybe he'll have his ears coming out the side. Maybe they'll band his ears together and it'll hang down in the back like a ponytail. I'm not sure, but 1, 2, 3 more things left to talk about. I remember in the wake of this episode dropping, as it dropped live, there was a lot of conversation about Gina Carano's Cara Dune character. Cara Dune? I think it's Cara Dune. That's weird. Is it C-A-R-R-A or C-A-R-A? C-A-R-A is definitely Cara. Cara Dune's status as an action heroine, and how it was believable. And I remember a lot of the conversation circled around the fact that Gina Carano does look like someone who could kick your ass. But I think it goes deeper than that. So when we're talking about the action star realm, one of the comparisons that was being thrown around a whole lot when this episode was dropping was the comparison to Brie Larson and Captain Marvel. And how Brie Larson's not really believable as Captain Marvel. And I have to say, anybody's politics be damned, that's true. I didn't watch Captain Marvel and think, yeah, Brie Larson could kick my ass. And here's the problem with thinking that, is that Captain Marvel in the Marvel Universe, cinematic or not, when you're talking about the comics even, Captain Marvel is one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe. So, when you're looking at Brie Larson, you think, well, I don't think she could kick my ass. Well, if she is that powerful, she doesn't have to look that way. But here is what really sells it with Gina Carano's Cara Dune character. She doesn't just look like she wants to kick your ass, or she doesn't just look like she could kick your ass. She looks like she actually hates you as well. That's a difficult look to pull off. She looks like she actually hates you as well. Brie Larson's Captain Marvel always looked like someone pretending to want to hate someone. I think that's the bigger element at play. I am no Brie Larson fan, and I don't mean to bring this up in an episode dedicated to The Mandalorian, but we're in the same company. Disney owns Marvel as well as Star Wars. So I think what's going on there is that we don't need to go any further than the Marvel Cinematic Universe to get a taste of that. Black Widow looks like she wants to kill you as well. Scarlett Johansson looks like she doesn't like you. She's more believable as a person who is hyper-skilled but without superpowers than is Brie Larson as someone who is supposedly superpowered. So I don't mean to really bring that up. I just thought that it was something I had to talk about in relation to this. But the one thing that really sold Cara Dune as an action character, Gina Carano as an action star, was not the fact that she looks like she could kick your ass, was not that she looks like she really does hate you, but it was that small moment, that last moment where Mandalorian and Cara Dune say goodbye. How do they do it? You son of a bitch. Pop. They do it with the Predator handshake. The Predator handshake. That's how they say goodbye to one another. Well, that's enough to make you cry. So she is cemented. One last thing to say about this episode and The Mandalorian in general. You almost thought I was going to get out of this without having any good storytelling points about this, any great storytelling tidbits about this episode. But I realized something during this And it was during the scene where Julia Jones is basically coming on to Mando and saying, hey, you could stay here. I could use a husband. It feels like that. She's trying to take his helmet off, trying to say, hey, save this for a day if we need it. One of the great literary tactics that is employed in literary fiction, and is employed in all forms of fiction, but literary fiction, it almost has to be employed, or it is discredited from being literary fiction. And I don't throw these terms around in a... I do not throw around the term genre fiction in order to discredit it. What I mean by literary fiction is what I'm about to say. Literary fiction implores you to do your own interpretation. When you look at what is known as bad writing, where it's all the way over there, I've got Twilight. I went over Twilight on my Stripped Cover Lit channel. 3 chapters at a time. And one of the things that keeps something like Twilight from being capital L literature is the fact that the character's emotions are constantly given to you. Isabella Swan. No, Isabel. Isabella Swan in that is constantly being credited as being happy or being sad or being angry or being mad or being this or being that or being anything in between. We constantly get her emotions thrown at us. We constantly get Shiny Vampire Guy's emotions thrown at us, given to us, said squarely on the page. He huffed. Get out, he said angrily. This is non-literary, because here's what the literary writer does. There is a moment in Ernest Hemingway's Hills Like White Elephants when they are the story's about an abortion. He's trying to talk her into getting one, but saying, you don't have to. And she's saying, no, I'm going to do it. I understand it's important to you. This sort of thing, going back and forth. There's a moment where she says, can you please, 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 please shut up? Now, depending on who you are, where you are, when in your life you're reading this, that please, 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 please shut up or be quiet. Be quiet. That please, 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 please be quiet changes based on your reading and based on where you are in your life. So, if you're on his side, that snotty little chick is just saying, can you please, 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 please shut up? But if you're on her side, it's more of a, will you please, 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 please be quiet, right? It is not put in the text. Why? Because you as the reader are supposed to come to your own conclusion about where these individuals are in their lives, and it will reflect on you as the reader. That is the real sort of meaning of literature. So when Julie Jones' character is saying, hey, you could stay here, we could sort of do a thing, we could be real scientific buddies together, the Mandalorian in his mask, obviously, is blank-faced. So you get to project your emotions onto him. Is he being stolid behind that mask? No. I have to go. Is he breaking down in that moment? And that's why she gets the helmet so far up before he stops her. Is he breaking down? Is the pressure of the situation getting to him? We have to infer it as an audience. That is a literary moment. The last thing I want to talk about here, that was what struck me during the video, if you were wondering. That was the thing that hit me in the back of the head as I was talking. I better talk about this. The last thing I want to talk about here is the fact that, yes, as I stated earlier, this is a Disney property. If you go back in this channel through my investor videos, the weekly investor videos, which I don't do anymore, you're welcome. Nobody watched them, that's fine. I understand. I'm a Disney shareholder. So, Bob Chapek, if you're watching this, and I know you are, I implore you to create an open world bounty hunter game, an open world Mandalorian game. This Grand Theft Auto meets Star Wars, where you're picking up missions and you're catching bounties and you get to upgrade your armor along the way. I implore you, Bob Chapek, put someone at EA on that game. And I know EA has a terrible reputation, then don't let them have it. Whatever you have to do to get this game underway, do it. It will be massive, and it will make me lots of money. That is all I have to talk about for this episode of The Mandalorian, which was Sanctuary. I believe the next one is called The Gunslinger. So look at that reflection in my eyes. I look like the ATST. So I hope to see you back next time for that episode review as well.